Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Don Labonte. This begins the 6th hour of studying our conversation patterns. This particular pattern in the teacher's guide can be located under I will probably file. You can print this out or write it on the blackboard, have students write it down, transcribe it, put it into their 3-ring binder. First 10 or 15 minutes we do review the patterns that we've already learned. If you close your eyes, I'll just go through all those patterns with you, and with the common verb I study, and you'll feel the difference of the pattern makes when it's combined with the verb. I want to study, I plan to study, I need to study, I go to study, I know how to study, I feel like studying, I try to study, I have to study, I like to study, I am studying, I'm going to study, I'm able to study, I'm thinking of studying, I'm supposed to study, it's all right to study, it isn't all right to study, it is all right not to study, I've got to study, I have been studying, I have studied, I can study, I would like to study, I should study, I'm ready to study, I'm about to study, I begin to study, I'm in the middle of studying, I keep studying, and I stop studying. Those are the patterns that we've learned up to now. Today in the 6th hour we begin studying these 7 patterns that you see on the side. The mix that you see here are about 50 questions which review the patterns as we learn them going down the line here. With I used to, there is only the past tense only. The reason I study these two together is that oftentimes they sound alike and can be confusing for the student. Obviously the question with the I used to is did you used to, and with the I am used to, the verb to be goes in the front, are you used to doing something. So you can weave in and out of this with your questions to find out if they're able to pick it up correctly and respond accordingly. The short form of this pattern that you see at the bottom here is I get to. I get to go, I'll get to meet her, etc. I find sometimes that students get confused with I get to verb and I've got to. There are different meanings. I get to meet her and I've got to meet her. It's a different feeling. Almost is only used in the past tense. I almost met her. Because it is the past tense, the question is always did. Why is did used? Because am, should, would, can and could are not in the sentence. We learned this a few hours ago, that if these are in the sentence form, do, did, and will are not used. But in this case, you would just use the past tense. The final pattern here, I put it in the past tense here. The future is always used. I will decide to do it. I decided to do it. The present tense, he decides to do it, is not used that much. So I would concentrate on the future and the past tense with I decided to. What is sometimes helpful in studying these patterns is for the student to identify the same pattern in their own language. On the website I do have the exact or very, very similar patterns used both in Korean and Spanish. But the feelings, people's feelings are, I would venture to guess, universal with these patterns that in most any language. And if you have students who speak other than these languages, the way that I would, if they speak French, for example, and they want to know what the exact same pattern in French is, what I suggest for them to do is go to somebody who's both bilingual in French and English and do a little test with them. They simply say, tell them to translate I go into English. And then you'll say to them, please translate I want to go. Then ask them to translate I want to study. Then to translate I want to read. And I want to write. And what should happen here is that the person who first gives them the simple sentence, when they change it into one of these forms, the same feeling should come out which attaches to the verb. And that's a simple way for them to identify the same feeling in their language as we're studying here in English. The secret to success is the teacher's ability to focus on the patterns, not get sidetracked. You're there to help the student to talk as much as they can to practice their skills. And we've learned lessons throughout the last 5 to 6 hours. Your job is to focus on that. Make sure when you use the pattern that the student is able to respond with the same pattern which reflects a particular feeling. Thank you very much.